Cocoa is a major agricultural export in Ghana and the country's main cash crop. It has been a major contributor to Ghana's socio-economic development since independence.
Cocoa is the bane of Ghana's economy, to be frank with you. It is, in terms of agriculture, it is one crop, the main cash crop that Ghana relies on in terms of export. And the income that is generated for Ghana per se out of cocoa is also significant. In Ghana, it is one area of agriculture that employs most of our farmers. Cocoa Board in Ghana gives scholarship to the children of farmers. They are into maintenance and construction, sometimes the newly constructed roads and all that. They are into livelihoods. Of course, they create employment, and they even go into a health sector by building certain hospitals around.
The cocoa sector employs about 2 million Ghanaians who work on farms, cocoa processing plants, and in product marketing centers across the country, pumping a whopping $2 billion into the Ghanaian economy annually. In fact, the global chocolate industry is worth more than $100 billion, and cocoa is the main ingredient for chocolate production.
I believe it is not gainsaying that cocoa as a crop has really supported the country over the years. And if we trace the history of cocoa, it has been the very supportive sector in the economy of the country. And a lot of people talk about cocoa being what supported them to have education. You look at the number of farmers who are really into cocoa farming and the amount of monies they get. The factories that are operating on the basis of cocoa as a raw material. Cocoa is really very important to our dear country. And until recently, we were ranking #1, which is an international reputation.
But over the last few years, cocoa farms have come under vicious attacks which threaten the survival of the crop. My name is Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, and in this edition of Hotline, I take you on a tour of some cocoa communities to hear how farmers are struggling to keep cocoa trees alive on the farm.
Cocoa is helping protect the environment. Now they are destroying the cocoa trees and the environment.
Let's begin from Akim Breman in the eastern region.
Somewhere 2 years ago, one of my communities called Akim Breman reported to me that their farms have been destroyed by traditional rulers, saying that they want the land to be used for rubber plantation. Initially, they disagreed, and they told them that they will use those land that has not been planted with cocoa trees, and they agreed. Later on, they realized that they have been encroached their farms. Those farms who are not supposed to be cut down, forcibly, they use grader to put all these cocoa trees down. They haven't been paid. And even the price that they are about to pay, they didn't negotiate with them. So they are angry. I came there with the help of my CEA. I realized that it was a true. Therefore, we call on, and you have came in for an interview. So these are my community members.
The anger that has built up in this community as a result of the destruction of their cocoa trees is beyond measure. They have been growing the pod for more than 70 years. 3 years ago, officials of the Ghana Rubber Estates Limited, GREL, came to the community with claims that the land has been sold to them for the purpose of establishing rubber plantations. More than 2,000 acres of cocoa farms belonging to about 150 farmers were brought down to make way for rubber plantations. They are not happy.
They destroyed the cocoa trees at a time we were not expecting.
55-year-old Kwesi Akwa is the father of 5. He also lost his 5-acre farm. He made a criminal case by reporting the matter to the police, but no progress has been made with the investigations.
Now I'm suffering. My children have dropped out of school. Now how can we survive in this town without the cocoa? It is as if they want to drive us out of the town.
Blanks of Fair came to the community when government started the Youth in Cocoa program. His 1.5-acre cocoa farm was destroyed. He doesn't understand why traditional leaders agreed to hand over lands that had been used for cocoa farming over the years to the rubber growers.
We don't have money. We are not getting food from anywhere. They have destroyed our plantain, yam, and other foods.
They
say the Ochene made all the arrangements and they were giving us 7,100 cedis for each acre of cocoa. Then they will destroy the trees for life. We will not allow this to happen.
Kofi Ofe is another such victim of the destruction. He lost his 3-acre cocoa farm. He tells me on the day the cocoa farm was demolished, he had thoughts of killing whoever did it.
I could have shot the person responsible for the destruction when I went to the farm to see what had happened. I was very troubled. Now I'm a pauper. I had to go for 1,500 cedis loan to take care of my sick child. How would I be able to pay? So I am suffering.
For a community which depends solely on cocoa farming, the destruction of these farms have affected every household. Everyone has a tale of pain to share. Yas Sekina has been a cocoa farmer for many years. Her farm has been her only form of income. Today, the 2-acre farm has been destroyed.
2 acres. I bet 2 acres.
I had a 2-acre cocoa farm. Now the trees are down.
No money. All
my 4 children have been sent home from school because I don't have money to pay fees. Government should intervene.
Their demand is simple, that government gives back their lands to them so they can possibly replant their cocoa. Samuel Tai Esa is the leader of the youth group here that is into cocoa farming.
Ochene is in support of the demolition of the cocoa.
I had a
4-acre farm which was destroyed. How will I be able to recover from this?
We
beg President Akufo-Addo to stop the destruction like he did with illegal mining.
The cocoa sheds are virtually empty now. The youth have left the town in search of greener pastures elsewhere. It's virtually a ghost town now, inhabited mainly by the elderly and women.
I'm appealing to the chief of Akim Brematam, as well as Ochehine, then the sector minister in charge of cocoa, and then His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, to come in as a matter of urgent to solve this problem once and for all. You know, research has clearly shown that cocoa farmers in Ghana are aging. Therefore, we need to motivate our youth to go into cocoa industry so that we will get the cocoa sustainability project. And if a youth realizes that his father or grandmother cocoa farm has been pulled down, will you think this youth farmer will go in to plant cocoa again? Definitely it's not.
The residents here are angry not only because their cocoa trees are gone, but also because the situation threatens their survival. It was a cold morning in January 2017. The excitement of a new year was gradually making way for a return to normal life. 72-year-old Comfort Faye had returned to her cocoa farm like she does every morning to weed. She found heavy machinery had moved onto the farm earlier that day and destroyed her cocoa. Comfort was devastated. She collapsed and has since been left in depression.
We were here when we heard that para rubber company, either from Takoradi, anything of that nature, they came in that they are coming to, cut all the trees at the side there, cocoa for you. They are coming to rob the whole thing, and they plant para. So, due to that, my wife was thinking about it. So he get this depression. But we have run all the way hospitals around the whole country. The situation is still not normal. In fact, he was there at the farm. He was at the farm when he collapsed, and we carried her to the town.
Now she has been paralyzed. Comfort is a mother of 8 with plenty grandchildren. The family is struggling to cope with her mounting medical bills.
Because of this, in fact, we are in a packy hanky. We have nothing. Almost about 4 months now. We have visited so many hospitals. You see, until this time that you came here, we have nothing. Almost about 50 million we have spent for, the treatment.
It's a rainy afternoon, but these residents remain defiant. They march ahead of me to the thick forest to go see the extent of destruction of the cocoa fields. We meet workers preparing cocoa land for the planting of rubber trees.
Maybe they are friends and may holy. Holy, no, and I'm media mayor.
I was only called to come clear the land, and the women are planting the rubber seedlings from the back.
Now that the cocoa trees are down, these families have to rely on trading in wood for their livelihoods.
My wife
died recently. I am poor, and they have destroyed my cocoa. Now, even what to eat is a problem. I am unable to buy school uniforms for my children.
Money from the cocoa fields is what helped us to go to school. But that is no more, so we are home. We want them to stop the destruction of the cocoa fields.
The large areas you see in the background with grown bushes all used to be cocoa farms. But they are no more. Now these areas that also had palm trees, other cash crops and foods are gradually being filled up with wheat as the lands are prepared for the planting of rubber trees.
This vast land that you see will be more than 50 farmers' land, because behind the mountain, all those farms where the green vegetation is all those places where cocoa farms have been pulled and they've planted rubber. So they are planting towards this side, and when they get to this side too, they will pull down these cocoa farms also down and then plant rubber. So the community itself don't know what to do. This is even pull down cocoa trees. You can see this. All these are parts.
Agric Extension agent Joyce Aku says life in the community has been difficult since.
All these parts are included. All these places were cocoa farms. So it has affected my trainings. When I call for group meetings, they don't come. Because when they listen to group meeting, the good economic practices, they come to their farms and then apply it. Even we have demonstration farms that after the practice there, they come to they don't even come because the farms are no more.
So what you see in the background is one of the thousands of cocoa trees that's actually been destroyed in this community as a result of the ongoing efforts to turn these large tracts of land into a rubber plantation. So if you can see here, these are all cocoa pods that were sitting on this tree that was cut down sometime 3-4 months ago among the thousands of other cocoa trees that were actually cut down. That's portions of the pod that's actually been destroyed. This used to be a cocoa growing community, but as a result of this, this is what we are seeing. All these trees stand from the cocoa tree have been turned into firewoods, and this is the result of it. These ones are waiting here for carting to other areas in order to be used as firewood for cooking activities. Unfortunately, the community's glory as a cocoa growing area is gradually going down.
Look at how they have destroyed my father's farm. Even now I seek on someone for food. Because of, at first my father was not a poor man. But because of this, we are all become poor. My mother has divorced with my father because my father cannot get money to take care of him. Hey.
That's the story of Ankuma Janset, an SH1 student who had dropped out of school because his father could not continue to take care of him due to hardship brought on by the destruction of the family's cocoa fields.
When my father heard of that bad news, he collapsed. So we took him to a chief priest. So because of this, he has think of it. So he is not well. Because of that, me too, I can't even get someone who will take care of me. So I've been sitting in the house nowadays. I have no caretaker who will take care of me. So even I'm sad of this. And because of that, all of his children have, their family have destroyed. It has dispersed. We can't even get food to eat. Be sick on someone for food.
He tells me prostitution and robbery is on the rise in the community as former young cocoa farmers now look for alternative sources of livelihood to survive.
Because of this, we are all suffering. Even some of our girls in this town, we are used to being prostitute. Because of the cocoa that they have destroyed, we can't even get job to do. So we are all, even some of the young guys, they used to steal money. Even last time, because of this, it caused a huge anger. Some of the students went and stole money at the cocoa shell. Because of that, all our plantation and vegetation are gone.
The situation is likely to get worse soon, as these farmers tell me. So we've been walking through a number of cocoa fields over the last 30 to 45 minutes. These are thousands of acres of cocoa farms, and for the last close to 30-45 minutes we've been walking, and it's been unending. All you see are cocoa trees with all the leaves and all. But Joyce, you've been telling me that all of these areas are likely to be destroyed sometime soon.
Yeah, all these places are likely to be destroyed because they are demarcated for destruction by the rubber plantation. So the farmers have left the cocoa not even weeding. The good agronomic practices, they've even stopped.
Yeah, I can see that it's very bushy within there. How come?
Because they know that the cocoa will definitely be destroyed. So there is no need of even weeding, pruning, doing the training. Even the trainings that they've been coming, most of them have stopped. They are no more coming. Because the trainings that I give them, they have to use it on the cocoa farms, use it in their farms, but they think that definitely the cocoa will be destroyed. So there is no even need of applying the good agronomic practices in their farms.
Abeiku Boateng is one of the young farmers here. He used to sell coconuts on the streets of Accra, but returned to the community in 2011 to focus his energies on cocoa production under a Youth in Cocoa program. With a wife and 4 children to feed, he has had to rely on the cocoa for their upkeep. Now he fears the worst, as his cocoa trees could go down soon.
True. Because many are not
I am living in fear that my cocoa trees will also be pulled down soon. That is why we are calling on government to intervene, because we don't want to take the law into our hands. The coconut business isn't good anymore, and so the cocoa too should not be destroyed.
Cocoa production in the community in 2016 was more than 160 tons. In 2017, it reduced to about 100 tons. President of the Cocoa Life Farmers Society, Nana Isuman, is worried about the situation.
No, you say, Abayan Sumna and Sosa, a cocoa say, no, Abema, a production, a coffee.
If government does not stop this destruction, our cocoa output will definitely reduce.
They have got into hardships. Even the children couldn't go to school, and even cloth to put on, they can't get it. They have got into poverty. So it has cost us very much.
Efforts to get the traditional leaders responsible for the sale of the land to comment have proved futile. George Eduse is a development worker with Cocoa Life in the Eastern region. He is worried government investment in cocoa are being lost to these distractions.
The government is putting in a lot of effort to encourage people to do cocoa. That is why they are coming in with this free seedlings, fertilizer, agrochemicals and other stuffs to help them. But because the owners of the land are not interested in the cocoa, they are giving it out to these rubber companies to plant rubber instead of the cocoa. And we pride ourselves that cocoa is Ghana and Ghana is cocoa. So if we continue doing this, that name, Ghana Cocoa, Cocoa Ghana, will vanish forever. So I think the government should put the feet down and then start doing something about this.
George attributes the situation to a terrible land tenure system that needs immediate fixing.
The land tenure system in these areas is the major problem. Those doing the farm, the cocoa farm themselves, are not the real owners of the land. So you might be on the land and the owner will come, I have sold it to this particular person to use it for rubber. And you don't have a say. They will only give you some small token as compensation. And you have to go and find another land somewhere to plant your food crops and any other cash crop that you want to plant. So it's a very big problem for the farmers.
These are issues that, of course, are of concern. But as I'm saying, if cocoa production is profitable, then nobody will allow their lands wouldn't sell their lands to rubber cultivation or to galamsey. So we need to improve productivity so that the incomes of farmers are better and they can live better and not look at alternative use of their lands. It's simple.
But obviously that's a long-term plan. In the short term, is there anything we can do?
No, it's short term. It's short term. I mean, we are talking about increases in hand pollination, which could easily double your yields. You know, and that is short term. It's instead of just allowing butterflies and other insects to do the pollination, you systematically go and do the pollination yourself in the early morning when the flowers are open, and then the evenings when the flowers are open to receive the pollen. You train people to do that. So that's instant. The same thing for disease control. If you're controlling your diseases with spraying effectively, mass spraying and so on, it reduces the incidence of disease and your yields go up. So it's not medium long term at all.
Chairman of the Concerned Farmers Association, Nana Obadia, is demanding the immediate arrest and prosecution of those responsible for the destruction of the cocoa trees.
Seems they don't know the laws that they put it in place. I don't think it's better, because talking about smuggling of cocoa, that anybody that smuggle cocoa, you arrest the person. But what about the tree that is fruiting, is bringing out the beans? That one, when people cut it down, you don't even arrest them. Then we have a problem, because looking at the number of cocoa trees that have cut down and the number of cocoa beans that they do smuggle, the ones that they have cut down are more than the ones that they do smuggle. And it's everywhere. Smuggling of cocoa and other things is everywhere. But I don't think Côte d'Ivoire, they cut down their cocoa trees. They don't do that. But in Ghana, we don't care. We don't eat rubber in this country. There's nowhere in the world that they will accept rubber and then they will forget about cocoa. What is the social responsibility for cocoa? For, how do you call it, for rubber? But you went there yourself and you saw the cocoa road being constructed. Rubber is a forest, how do you call it, a wild plant. They can send it to the forest. But the fertile land that people eat from, cocoa, that we can get this plantain that you see at the background and other things here, they are destroying everything. And listen, and this thing is bringing food poisoning. It's killing people, and we call it silent suicide.
Join me for part 2 of the documentary as we visit more cocoa communities being destroyed to make way for rubber plantations in other parts of the country and hear from authorities. For Hotline, my name is Joseph Opoku-Gakpo.